Where am I? I'm not in my apartment. I ain't even in New York. I've come back to Toronto and I'm staying with my friend Laura. And we went out today on this hot summer day and happened upon a fruit market where I saw nature's jewels from the summer. Local strawberries, wild blueberries, raspberries, and to me, this is the time of year to savor and eat all of this stuff when it's locally grown because it is the best. I actually don't eat strawberries at any other time of the year. I only buy local strawberries in the summer and just savor them. But this bounty of fruit, including some mangoes, these are not local, we do not grow mangoes in Toronto. This selection of fruit made me realize that I should make something that I make every summer, and that's a fruit salad. It's a fruit salad the way my mom made fruit salad, and whenever she made this fruit salad, which is really a tropical fruit salad, she reminisced every single time about her father taking her to a little cafe called Suba's Cafe in Ceylon. I think it was in Jaffna. Any of you who are from Jaffna or who are from Sri Lanka and you know this, please confirm where it is, whether it's Colombo or Matale or Jaffna, which are the three places my mom lived. She would say, oh, when my dad would take me to Suba's Cafe, I just loved the fruit salad. This is how they would make it, and they would top it with ice cream. This is a delicious fruit salad. There are some things in it that might be unusual to you, but those unusual things are what make this, I would say, a Ceylon fruit salad or an Indian fruit salad. So my personal experience with eating a fruit salad like this away from my mom was the one time I was in India alone doing my research for Life of Pi, and my host, the principal of this boys' school, took me out to dinner at an Indian restaurant, and for dessert he said, shall we have some fruit salad? And these two wonderful bowls appeared with the fruit salad that looked like my mom's fruit salad, topped with ice cream. And I have to say, that was the best version of it because all the fruit was local, even the mangoes, and I was in heaven. So I'm going to show you how to make that today. You need, for Ma's fruit salad, for Suba's Cafe's fruit salad, mangoes, and I actually prefer to eat, these are atulfo, I don't know how to pronounce that word, the sort of the flat, the consistency of these mangoes are less fibrous and more kind of floury or pasty. This mango is actually good for the fruit salad. I don't like to eat these by themselves, though I prefer the other mangoes. You need mangoes, but any kind of mangoes will work. Strawberries. Again, I love using the local strawberries that last for only a day before they start to shrivel up. These are like little rubies. They're delicious, so sweet. You need banana, nice ripe banana, an apple for crunch. This is very important. It adds tartness and crunch to the fruit salad. And then cashews, raisins, and the one final ingredient, which is a little secret that I'm going to save till the very end. So those are the ingredients that go in here. You can also add grapes, which my mom used to do sometimes. Wonderful green grapes, and she would sort of cut them in half and add them, but I don't add grapes to the salad. They're so good. I just love fruit at this time of year. Okay, let's start making this. So the mango gets peeled. So once the mango is peeled, you're going to cut the mango into little cubes, and this is how I do it. I cut slices this way, and they should be, this is a delicate fruit salad because of how small everything is cut. So I would say these cubes are like less than a centimeter. Kavanam, kai kavanam. So you can, that's the size of the mango. This mango is perfectly ripe. And for this fruit salad, it's very forgiving because you're mixing so many things together. If the mango isn't fully ripe and is still a little tart, that's fine because the other things in it sweeten it up. And there's a couple of things that really add the sweetness. So if you have a mango that's not perfect for eating on its own, that's fine to use in this fruit salad. Okay, mango chopped up. One mango. The great thing about coming to Laura's house is she has so many of the things that I have because Laura and I met at Pioneer Village. So there's so much overlap. You may recognize this cutting board, which Laura made 25 years ago at Black Creek Pioneer Village under the tutelage of our wood carving mentor, Bert. And so I made one of these, but this one's much older. So cutting on this cutting board is like cutting on a cutting board at home. Oh, guess who made this towel? Upper Canada Weaving, our friend Deborah, who we both met at Pioneer Village. You can order towels just like this one by visiting www.uppercanadaweaving.com. Wait times for commissioned towels like this are approximately 6 to 8 months. That's the truth, because they're hand woven. Okay. But I digress. Okay, next we're going to cut up. So this is what I do. When I'm cutting up the fruit, I'm thinking of the time of the exposure of the fruit, and I'm saving the things that brown fastest till the end. So I'm cutting the mangoes up because these aren't going to really brown. The next thing I'm going to cut up are the strawberries. Wash your strawberries before you eat them. And I'm cutting these up. I'm cutting them up to roughly the same size as the mangoes. And I don't use a cutting board. I'm just going to do this in the air. This is how my mom did it. So I just cut them up like this. The size of the fruit's very important. The consistency of like having everything be the same size, it prevents stuff from sort of sticking out physically in your mouth when you're eating this. It just makes it very unified. So I would say proportion-wise, you want the same amount of strawberries as mango. It smells so good already. There's like a nostalgia associated with this fruit salad. I mean, the nostalgia for me comes from thinking about my mom making it, but it's also linked to my mom having the nostalgia every time she made this. It took her back to the world in which she was born. And sometimes I just flip through the old photo albums and I look at old pictures of my mom in Ceylon, and it's very hard to actually believe that it was the same lady, that the lady that would put jasmine flowers in her hair and wear a sari and play this obscure ancient instrument called a veena, later drove a Buick, had a full-time job at a bank, wore high heels, sold Avon every weekend. She was an Avon lady, got a mortgage for her own house. But that was the same person. And from that old world, she brought things across the world that she infused into her everyday life, like this. And it wasn't just my mom. Her siblings often reminisce about life in Ceylon in the 50s and 60s, and it sounds like at one time it was paradise. Like the nostalgia that is in their voices and it is in their eyes as they're reminiscing is so moving, even still. My uncle often talks about one house in which they lived where nearby there was an elephant that would pass the open doorway every morning on its way to work with the mahout, the man with a white loincloth and a white turban. And they would see it going to work in the fields. And then in the evenings, just as the sun was setting, the elephant would pass by the house, and everybody on the street would come out of the house and stand and watch, because the mahout would be playing a bamboo flute. And my uncle gets teary when he talks about this, and he says he could see that the elephant would walk in a different way than in the morning because the elephant was proud of hearing this music from this bamboo flute. And I mean, when I hear those stories, it's very hard for me to believe that they're real, but they are. And this is the thing about nostalgia. I read something recently about young kids in today's generation lamenting a bit. There was a survey done asking a group of young kids whether or not they would prefer to live in an era without the internet. And 50% of the kids surveyed said they wished that they lived in an era without the internet because they hear their parents talking about the past and wish they could experience that. I thought that was really interesting, but it also made me realize, there isn't any reason why you can't make choices to bring that nostalgia into your life and live without the stuff that you feel is distracting. We all have those choices, and I will say that my personal choices push me to embracing the nostalgia and incorporating it with books and music, listening to like M.S. Subbulakshmi and singers from the 1950s and 60s that my mom listened to, and then clothing, wearing things that remind me of the past, like tweed, having things custom made or making them myself with old-fashioned cloth in a stylish way, and then food, cooking the food that my parents cooked and that my grandparents cooked. All is not lost. Okay, bananas. So the bananas are now the thing that I'm going to cut up because these are much more delicate and will start to brown. I'm using these, I don't know what they're called in English, but kappal valapalam is what they would be called in Tamil. Kappal is a boat. They're like little boats. And I saw these. We actually went to the Tamil store today, Ambal Trading on Parliament, and they had these imported tiny bananas. So I bought these. So I cut it into quarters, and now I'm cutting the little chunks. So again, it's almost the same size as the mango and the strawberries. So the last thing I'm going to cut up is the apple. I like to use a Granny Smith apple because of its tartness. I'm going to peel the apple and then cut it up. Apple, I believe, is a fruit that is kind of exotic in Sri Lanka. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure apples are imported or they're very special. Apple palam. The apple you really do want to make small. You don't want big chunks of this crunchy apple in there. It should be delicate and small. So this I do focus on doing properly. Little squares like this. I don't want to put the whole thing in actually. So for me, it's like I kind of look at it and I gauge, how do I feel? I don't want to put all this in there, so I'm just going to set that aside. Okay, so in here, mango, strawberry, banana, apple. Now we're going to add some cashews, raw cashews, not roasted, not salted, just raw cashews. I'm going to chop these up. Again, kind of aiming for the size of everything else. You don't want like little you don't want cashew powder. There. That goes in. I think I need some more. Cashews are a big thing in Ceylon, Sri Lanka. They're sold on the side of the road by cashew ladies who have a notorious reputation of wearing these short blouses, showing their waists and flirting with men to buy their cashews. This is what they make like little like jokes or quips about like, I saw you with the cashew lady. like cashew ladies. Okay, and then a handful of golden raisins. So these golden raisins will add a sweetness to the fruit salad. Okay. Condensed milk. This is in so many desserts in Sri Lanka and South India. Condensed milk. The condensed milk coats the fruit, and it actually extracts some of the juices of the fruit and creates a beautiful sauce. You don't need much. Like for this, I would add two tablespoons, and then I give it a delicate mix, not aggressive. And I do believe that it's the condensed milk that enables this to sit in the fridge for a few hours without completely being gross. Look at that. And I have to say, the smell right now emanating from this bowl is so lovely. There we go. Okay, now that's what it should look like. And then this, we're gonna put into a lovely little bowl. So this is how this fruit salad came to the table when I went to dinner with Father Anthony Sami in India. It was a glass bowl that was sort of filled with the fruit salad. There. And then ice cream, vanilla ice cream on the top. My favorite ice cream is Haagen-Dazs, because if you read the ingredients, there's nothing else other than the ingredients that I would actually use to make ice cream at home. So for me, Haagen-Dazs is the best ice cream. If you have an ice cream maker and you make vanilla ice cream, make this fruit salad and have it with that. It'll be incredible. So just a nice topping of ice cream. I'm gonna bend the spoon. Is it brute strength? Okay, there. And a little silver spoon. So, this is what I know as the Suba's Cafe fruit salad, my mom's fruit salad, made with fresh summer fruit. It's incredible. And I don't know anybody that I've given this to that didn't love it. Try it yourself. Let me know what you think. Enjoy.